to another episode of A Fat Perspective. I'm really excited to have our guest Patrick Falanico with us today. He is the lead photographer and owner of a very special studio in London, the Goddess Studio, correct?
Correct.
And there he focuses on taking photos of women from a very empowered lens. So welcome, Patrick.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
It's my honor to have you here because we actually met through photography. So this is fantastic because I love the work that you do. That I think it's so fabulous, your stance on who you decide to shoot and how you do it.
Thank you very much. I'm trying to think how we even connected. I must have liked one of your things. Oh, yes. Yes. I must have liked one of yours, and then you liked back, and then here we are.
I know we did the internet stranger danger to connection type of road. In our previous conversation, you said something that was absolutely fascinating, and that your background is in fashion merchandising.
In advertising, I started off graphic designer, then art director, and then a little agency in London. I was the creative director there, mostly women's wear and luxury goods and stuff like that. So that's kind of like I was saying earlier, it's kind of like a training for what actually has happened the last 3 years, being a boudoir and empowerment photographer. So it's like all that experience has come together quite nicely.
So how did you transition from like a world that is absolutely not geared towards honoring the body to the work that you do, which is honoring and empowering the body? Because that seems like it doesn't go together, you know?
Yeah, it does seem that way. Even I have conflict because, like, while I was working, even when I started, like, one of the first clients we had was a major lingerie company back in New Zealand, and they launched their first. Oh my God, it's a long time ago, but they launched their first plus size range
Oh,
of bras and lingerie, and I was there doing the marketing and stuff, graphics and stuff for that. So that was right back at the beginning of my career, and I remember that they did a factory catwalk of the stuff coming out, and they forgot to hire a plus size model for it.
oh no! So they're like, we make plus size clothing, but there's no model for us.
Yeah. So okay, we are talking what 30 years ago or something, but it was like so they had to do a call out to the factory floor.
Hmm.
It just so happened that my girlfriend at the time she volunteered for it, and so she ended up doing the catwalk with the actual professional models for that. So and that was actually quite a nice, proud moment for me, being a mixed heritage Samoan,
Hmm.
and to see my girlfriend who was like a Niuean, Pacific Islander, up there doing that. So that was quite proud. But then at the same time, it's just like that would not have happened, and it's kind of like so. Yeah, it's just like I work in this industry, but there's like this constant like battle going on for 30 odd years. In the background.
I
And
mean,
even the last agency I worked with was lovely because
yeah,
we were very multicultural. The
yeah.
agency, everyone was from a different place, but still our clientele was very luxury, Western based stuff. Which is like, yeah, I almost lost my job a few times over the last 30 years by trying to
Mhm.
put forward people of indigenous backgrounds and things. So, yeah, it's been you know, it's one of those things. Although you're in something and you like something and you love something, you can still do it from your own perspective and without losing your own insight, if you like. It just sometimes you have to compromise and shift jobs and stuff. But yeah, so that was the beginning. So it's like I've gone a full 360 loop. Like
Mhm.
30 years later, I'm now doing this, which is very emotive and powerful.
So, what made you choose boudoir? Because there's a million different ways to empower someone in front of the camera, right? Like,
Well,
why boudoir?
well, this is the weird thing. It's that I launched myself. I think I told you. I launched myself as an artist, retired from work,
Mhm.
and while I had my art studio, I took up portraiture as a
Mhm.
sideline because of the reference photos and that. And For whatever reason, I didn't get portrait clients. I had a lot of women come in and asking for body confidence stuff because at the time I didn't even know, and they didn't know there was a thing called boudoir, if you like. We never even heard the term. So
So you really fell on this accidentally. Goodness.
so what would happen is the ladies would come into my art studio and they would say things like, "Do you do sexy pictures?" And I got a lot of that. And then I'd come home and I'd speak to my missus and go, "I keep getting these ladies asking for like sexy pictures, blah blah blah." And I was like, and then I was like, "Shall I do it?" She was like, "Yeah, whatever. If it makes you happy, makes them happy, do it." And so started doing that. And but the problem was the art shop was very tiny, and it didn't really have a proper front door kind of thing because it was a marketplace, and people kept hearing all the giggles and the laughter and everything that was going on there. And eventually, it just felt like, okay, I might do this. I think it was about a year or so. I decided, okay, I'm going to go in full in, and that's when we built the home studio that you came to. But it was really the emotion thing because they came in, they really wanted to change their perspective on themselves, on how they see themselves, and for some reason, my art and maybe just talking to me inspired them to get to give me a go with it because even at that time I didn't even have a portfolio as such for that kind of work. So just took off really, and like you said, it's kind of accidental discovery. And the one thing I remember when I was in advertising, that a lot of people used to say that one little criticism they used to say about my work sometimes was that it was quite emotive and raw and real. And because that was the old saying, like advertising isn't real life, and that kind of stuff.
So I want to pause there and highlight that for people because it's one of the things I often say is that we have to really be careful of what things we listen to. And I love that you said advertising isn't real life
Yeah,
because we act as if it is real life. We
yeah,
look at things and we're like, of course I can have that body. No, you can't. You
well,
know, like,
you can. I mean, but that brings me on to the next thing because I thought, working in the fashion and that kind of luxury market was interesting. But since then, obviously, influencer and social media has grown in the last 10 years, and so that is kind of, I don't know, that's another thing. But it's just like the people that are doing that, a lot of them are spending like £200,000 on themselves and adjusting their bodies, and that's what we're looking at now. So if anything, the fashion magazines have gotten a lot more inclusive, and now we've got, yeah, a bit.
I'm sorry. I made the face because I feel that in the industry, like a lot of the inclusion is a performance because
But
the system doesn't support all bodies. So
yeah,
unless there's systematic change,
yeah,
my personal opinion, and please push back if you don't agree. Like I'm happy with being disagreed with, but like really, I don't think that it's truly inclusive until someone can go, okay, I can buy a product for my body or whatever. So it's like a performative inclusion versus actual inclusion.
yeah. I no, actually, I probably agree with you. Actually,
For example, have you seen the Barbie movie?
no, I haven't.
Okay,
Do you recommend?
I'm gonna tell you something about the Barbie movie that's not gonna ruin the Barbie movie. So in the Barbie movie, they have a fat girl, and you know I use the word fat in a neutral way. They have a fat Barbie, like
Yeah,
an actual Barbie person portraying a Barbie who has like a round body that looks like a ball. So I was like, wow, like they hired someone who's actually fat and like made her normal and all this stuff. So that was good. But the problem with that is if I'm a person watching that movie and I'm like, oh my gosh, I see a fat Barbie. I want to buy fat Barbie. Guess what? You can't buy fat Barbie. She doesn't
really.
exist. Of course not. There's
Oh,
no such thing as a fat Barbie. They do this curvy Barbie nonsense that's like a size 8 to 10. Like we all know that's not really curvy, but anyway. But it's like so that to me is like they're trying. So it's like in a way it makes like fat people really visible, but at the same time, you're invisible because you don't really exist. So this weird like paradox. So
Yeah, I know. It's like for me. What's fantastic is that my client base is so multinational, so diverse, and yourself included, coming from America or whatever. But the shyest ladies of all to share their images generally are black women and our curvier plus size. Yeah, I try not to say fat unless someone says they're okay with fat. But
no, I say we take back the word fat. Just like why is thin good? It's just a description. That's
yeah,
what I.
I know, but you've said it outright. I'm taking this word back, which is excellent. But a lot of people still so offended
It's
if you.
okay because it's been used as an insult for so long.
Yeah,
Of course, it's hard to hear that because it's
yeah,
one of the things we call someone. Oh my gosh, you're so fat. And you're like, oh,
but really, it is just it what it is.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, they're the shyest ones. So it's actually quite hard because as like 90% of my stuff, no one ever sees. So so thank you for really. I appreciate the effort coming over because it's really hard. It's really hard from that perspective because getting people to do it is not that difficult, but uh, the diverse people and the plus size, and I don't blame them because they get treated like rubbish. So
Well, it's just the normal insults, right? Like I guess. Um, so what I'm hearing you say is you'll shoot a lot of like let's say plus size or fat people, and then they won't want to share their
no,
photography.
no, completely no. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so hence why I do my ambassador thing once a year. Otherwise, I'd have nothing to show. To be honest, it was
So I have a question then.
yeah.
Are the people who are shy about sharing their photos, how do they feel about themselves though after they look at their photos?
Oh, they love. Oh, love. Absolutely love. Yeah, they love everything. They love every single thing about it. I mean, what I especially love about the body of confidence
Yeah.
stuff is like, as you know, like we have a lot of people that actually like physically hold their bodies like they might not have done that for a while. You know what I mean? Like actually jiggle things around and have a good laugh and all that kind of stuff. And they even have photos. You know, photos showing this and that, and they feel so good about themselves, but they just can't, you know, they don't want to share it with the world outside. So
Yeah, I
that's
can
the only
understand.
little sad bit, but to be honest,
I can
but
understand why though. I mean, it's like
yeah.
you might feel good about yourself and you understand that the world is not everyone's ready for that.
No, I know. People are not ready. Even yeah, I would say even curvy clients and stuff. So some of them are like, or people that are interested
Yeah.
in what I'm doing and considering it. Even they don't sometimes believe that someone can actually feel that good in their bodies and feel comfortable. So
So how do you get? So I imagine a lot of people arrive to your studio feeling like, oh no, I can't. There's no way. And how do you? What do you do to help them go from like I don't know to like yes, I'm a boss. You know, what do
uh,
you do?
I don't know. Be
Oh,
myself.
come on, of course you know. Stop it.
Um, well, one of the truths is a lot of it is built up over time.
Mhm.
And I always say, just put the damn deposit down. That's step number one. Put the deposit down because then you feel like, okay, I've made a step forward. But when you don't make a step forward, you're kind of like just,
Oh, so it starts with saying yes.
yes, that would be my first thing. Is just well, obviously find someone you like and all the rest of it, but then just close your eyes and put that first step down, and then
Yeah.
step number two, actually turn up.
Yeah.
I've not had that problem of no one turning up, but I've heard from other boudoir photographers
Mhm.
and other photographers that people just don't turn up because they're so nervous. They go like this, and it hasn't really happened to me, but I've heard about it.
So say I show up to your studio and I'm super shy. How would you help me?
If you've
How
actually
about
arrived. Yeah.
If I come in, I'm like I'm ready, but like I don't want to show my belly. I'm like how would you help me?
Um, um, oh, well, this is the interesting thing. I mean, to be honest, no pressure. That's my whole philosophy. No, no, no pressure. No pressure
Yeah.
to do anything. To be honest, we can sit and drink tea if you want for your session. You pay for your session. I'll get tea and cake, and we can just sit there if that's what you really want. And I had one lady right in the beginning where she was so desperate to do this, and she booked, and she came in, and she was nervous as hell, and she just couldn't, and did the makeup and everything. She still couldn't. I mean, we went through it, but she just wasn't comfortable. And in the end, we did a reshoot at her own home.
Mhm.
But generally, everyone's okay once they get in. They start chatting, and yeah, because I don't know, I'm a different person apparently when I start chatting about lingerie and glittery stuff, and yeah, yeah,
Um,
it's like my everyday persona. Apparently, this is my smiley face, right? My missus goes, "This is that's a smiley face," and but when it comes to heels and whatever, it's just like yeah, it's like I'm someone else. So it's quite amusing. So I don't know
so
if that answers.
yeah, yeah. So it's like it's what I hear is making someone feel comfortable and at ease, and there's
Yeah,
no pressure or expectation. That's it sounds like that's
absolutely,
an important
absolutely. Yeah.
strategy.
See, this is another interesting one. The people who don't even book me, but I have, when I tell people what I do for a living,
Mhm.
um, you have some people very excited about it, but most people are kind of, and then they always say like, "Oh, I hope it's tasteful."
But who determines that, right? Because like what's tasteful now was vulgar 10 years ago. So like
Yeah,
what
yeah, but the point they keep missing is this isn't me instigating what I'm going to do with this person, is it? The whole point of the thing is to help them express themselves and what they want to do and what they're comfortable with. So the whole notion of, well, I hope you keep it tasteful. It's like they're basically saying, well, I don't know what they're saying to be honest.
it's
What?
absolutely judging women's bodies. Again, like I believe a lot like people view
Yeah,
women's bodies and it doesn't belong to
it
us.
doesn't belong to them. My body, my choice. That's the whole point. I keep trying to push it. I have to keep pushing it over and over. It's just like it's not my, you will not get any pressure from me. But otherwise, if it was me leading the way, doing the thing, then I would be making portfolio stuff with professional models, or doing whatever professional
Yeah.
work or commercial work. So, so yeah. So I find that's really not a helpful statement. It's a real judgy statement. It's
It's
basically,
judgy.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's not even
And
on her body. It's like on her class, on her,
I find that that kind of struggle is what's hard about being a woman or like a plus size woman. It's like be fat, but don't be too fat. Be
yeah,
pretty, but don't be too pretty. Be sexy, but keep it tasteful. Like you can't win.
yeah. And men basically don't have to follow any of that,
So I have
almost.
okay. So I'm gonna ask you this question, which is totally about gender, but like it is very unusual for me to run into. I'm assuming you identify as a man, right? I should have asked you this before we started.
Yeah, yeah. I'm afraid
Yeah,
so. Yeah, you're
no,
right.
but like, and I
Oh,
ask you this.
I've been studying to try and keep up because it's changed so often. Because like I come from a background where third sex is perfectly fine. The third and fourth
Mhm.
is like acceptable traditionally. But
Oh,
now
in,
we
in
we have,
Samoa?
we have like 84 different genders or something. I'm just like I'm completely lost. No, I'm pretty straightforward. It's pretty much
Oh,
hetero. What's it? Heterosis? Yeah, heterosis
well,
man.
yeah, cisgender is if you identify with the gender of your birth and whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the point of me asking you this is, it is unusual for me to run across someone who's a cisgender man who
yeah.
is supporting women's body empowerment, and I'm really curious how you got there because it is unusual.
Uh, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, it could possibly be because the first clientele that I had, what major clientele was the lingerie company, and we did
Hmm.
3 years
Yeah.
there. And the I was only a youngster, and the two lady team that ran this design studio,
Hmm.
it was a two lady team. So what they would have been in their 20s, 30s, and I would have
Hmm.
been like, I don't know, 19 or something like that. So they were my go-to, and then all the editors and the people I spoke to, they were all women, ladies as well. So my whole environment for the last 30 odd years was surrounded by women. So for me, it's from that aspect, because that's another thing that people always
Yeah.
go, "Oh, what's it like to shoot lingerie models?" Blah blah blah, and it's like, but I was coming from the aspect that I've spent my life working with women, business women, marketing women, women doing this and that, designers like bag designers and shoe designers and stuff like that. You know, there's of course there's a man here and there, but generally it was like even the photographers were women. You know,
That's
um,
that's really unusual because I have this like I feel like at least in the states, what I see fashion industry, I still see it as very male dominated when the higher you climb.
yeah, the higher you climb. But okay, okay, now that yeah, this might go back to it. Okay, yeah, because when I was young, okay,
Mhm.
shall I go right back?
Go for it. Go right back to the beginning.
Okay, okay, so go right back. So basically, I was raised by a single mom. She was the first to come to the country,
Mhm.
and and then she brought over her sisters, and they mostly did secretarial work. So when she was working, yeah,
Mhm.
I'd get looked after by aunties or friends and stuff like that. So I've always said it jokingly, you know, that I was raised for the first 7 years by goddesses, really. so, so that might have had some influence on how I am or whatever. But uh, I don't know. I've been like that ever since I can think of, because I think back when I was 4 and going into primary school and stuff like that, I
Mhm.
did notice people's behaviors and whatever, the way people treat people of different shapes, sizes, color as well. Color wasn't as such a big thing because we didn't have a huge. I was one of the people of strange color, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That was kind of secondary, but anything tall, whatever. Everyone got a nickname for being something other than the prime.
You're
The
in
prime.
like yeah, and you're in like white people central. I forgot. You're in England. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but when I in the early days when I grew up, yes, we lived in the posh New Zealand district. So and yeah, it was pretty dominantly posh white people. But then there was some poor white people and poor island people like
Yeah.
myself.
I have like two questions for you. I've been meaning to ask you. Like, I love that you brought up the word goddess because that is the name of your studio.
Yeah.
Like, what made you choose that name? Like, what? Like, it feels like you have a strong emotional connection with that word.
Well, yes, because through the art, I was trying to depict in the early days of my art was trying to depict the maternal lineage, if you like, which is often overlooked. Um,
Mm.
so that was the deepness that I was going for, was like the blood of your mum and your mum's mum and whatever, sort of coming through in the strength of women from the past. Because it was about 6 years ago, my mum died, and yeah, 6 years. And I thought, well, now I'm doing the art thing. I started off like doing it as a, to honor and homage back to the woman that brought me up and that kind of thing. And then I also went through the years I did fashion and stuff like that. So, and it was all sort of interconnected. So that was where the emotion side came from, because it was basically put a canvas in front of me, and it was sort of a feminine thing kept coming to the forefront. So, and like I said, I'm not sure if that's partly being brought up and then the work environment that I ended up in, or part of it's just me. But.
Yeah. No, but I love that because, like, I don't hear a lot of cisgender men talk about honoring the maternal lineage. I think that's beautiful because that's a lot of the things that a lot of the women I'm around talk about, you know. So
Yeah,
I think that's wonderful. Welcome to welcome to being a feminist.
yeah. Well, yeah. Those
Yeah,
things
label
always
you a
seem.
feminist, get you in more trouble.
I wouldn't know if I was a feminist or not because I've been reading up on it all because it's a lot to consume. That was the reason why. Another reason why it took me so long to say yes to the boudoir thing because I was busy like doing the lineage and honoring our ancestor type thing. I wasn't
Mhm.
thinking about you know sexy stuff.
Well, see, that's interesting, right? Like when I first started doing like photography with people, like I had a real problem with the word sexy
Yeah.
because like and then someone was like, well, sexy is empowering. I'm like, is it though? Because I find that sexy is usually for the male gaze.
Well, that's what I would have thought, but I've
How
spent
did you?
3.5 years now talking to women about it, and a lot of it is, to be honest, yeah, this is the bit. If you were to take away all
Mhm.
the cultural stuff,
Yeah.
take it all away, and do women like inherently want to enjoy being sexy? It does seem that way. Um, Below it all, if you take away the view, like you said, the male view and everything
Mhm.
else, um, to enjoy their sexuality for themselves, at,
Yeah.
at, at the very least, you know.
So when you're describing that, I almost feel it's like especially when we connect it with the imagery of goddess, right? It feels very powerful.
It, from here,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
inside. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that's what I mean. A lot of the things I keep trying to say to people, although we do photography,
Yeah.
we got to stop focusing on how we look. That
Mhm.
sounds really odd, I know, for a
No, no,
photographer,
no. No, I love it.
but it's yeah. So that's why I do. We start everyone with breathing and trying to connect with themselves and slowing down.
Mhm.
Another thing, slowing down and just enjoying the moment because that's another thing that people just want to post, skip through. It's just like that would be fine if we were doing catwalk or something. I don't know, but
No,
it's
but it sounds like you're incorporating these like presencing practices, and that's part of like a mindfulness. And then when we really show up, then
yeah,
there's a chance for authenticity.
yeah. Sometimes hard to describe, but I've had moments where me and the client we just sit there and giggle. We just giggle and she could be just in the she might start crying
Mhm.
occasionally because she's really feeling like the moment with her and
Yeah.
sounds weird with her and her body but
No,
it's
it
almost
doesn't
like
sound weird.
it
It
sounds like
doesn't sound weird.
it's kind of like we've almost trained women to be separate from their bodies which is really weird.
No,
um
it's not weird. It is not
yeah,
weird at all. It's it's like feeling safe in our bodies is something that not a lot of women get to experience with people, and then like feeling that, hey, like I'm okay. My body's okay. Like
yeah.
I am well, my body's well. Like that is such a gift you give people. Especially if people haven't experienced their bodies like slowing down.
You just have to sit there, just sit there with it. Okay, so we got some makeup and lights and whatever, but
Yeah.
just sit in the moment and yeah. So yeah, and then yeah, and then it ends up moving. I was just seeing where my yeah, God, yeah. See, this is the downside. Being a bloke and stuff, we've got the blokey stuff that we've got to be blokes. But yeah, it gets quite emotional. Yeah,
Oh, it's wonderful. Like it's really wonderful. I love that. That is such a like that is yeah, like once we have the opportunity to experience our bodies, like that can be really liberating for people.
yeah, of course, and then of course there's millions of different ways you can do it. I mean, that's why I love to um, when I find them on social media, like people who do goddess meditation and that type of stuff. Yeah, I love all that embodiment weekenders and stuff like that. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I
There's
wouldn't mind incorporating some of those elements into what I do as well.
and it's yeah, I love that you're helping people connect with their bodies. And
Yeah,
then you take the picture.
yeah. yeah, it's kind of
Take a picture.
that's how I kind of approach it.
Yeah.
You know, because if like again, if we were doing like a lingerie shoot or something professional, we could have like 50 looks done in an hour, kind of thing. And that's not what it's about. Something that people have told me that's nice about what I do, which is different, is giving them the extra time because again, I could actually churn people out a lot quicker and have 2 or 3 shoots a day instead of just one.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of people said that to me, is that they've done that before, and it's like they've gone away, they got those, and and it didn't even feel like the pictures are nice, but they didn't really feel like they connected, like
Mhm.
necessarily to it.
Yeah.
The same way that when I can be overkill, I like practice and breathe and practice and breathe and,
Yeah.
and all this kind of stuff. But it seems to work. It seems to make people really feel what they're doing, and then when they see the picture, it's like I felt that I was there. I felt it. It's not just
Yeah.
yeah,
Because you're it's not just about the picture, it's experience and the connection and honoring the person, and you don't honor
yeah,
people by hurry up. Take a picture.
yeah, yeah. And again, that's where sometimes it's a bit difficult because the boudoir stuff is
Mhm.
very a lot of it is very spicy and very very can I be sexual on here? Very very sensuous, sexual, whatever. And then on the complete other side of the scale, we have the body love nudes, which is really annoying because that's the stuff that always gets banned on social media. But
Well,
even when, even
especially if they ban big people more than they do
yeah,
internet.
even though we're not showing anything, but that stuff is like not sexualized.
And it's going to take a while for people to catch up to the body love side. I think it's easier to access like, oh, power, ferocious, sexy, blah, versus just like, so it's going to take a while.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
I really want to like thank you for doing the work that you do and keep going, because
yeah,
I think it's so important for people to have an opportunity to experience their bodies in this like gentle loving way that you have created.
yeah. I do try to be gentle and yeah, apparently,
No,
yeah,
you don't try. I mean, clearly that's what you do, as you said. So own it.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 But
And yeah, and thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today. And I will put all, for anyone who's interested, I will put all of Patrick's information in the show notes so that you can reach out and go get some body love photography with him.
I love the way you did that with it.
Yeah. So thank you again for taking the time.